Please, we're calling this meeting to order. If the microphone stays. Calling to order the annual meeting of the town of Brighton and the Brighton water system. The first two items on the agenda are for Australian ballot voting tomorrow. So I'm not going to bother reading them. You can see for yourself what they are. They won't be voted on tonight. The next article is to hear the reports of the town officers for the past year and to take action thereon. Are there any town officers that want to make a report, or anybody that want to comment on any of the town officers' reports that you've read in the town report? Okay. We'll move on then. This does not need a motion to approve or anything, so we can just move on. The second item, Article 4, is to hear the report of the water commissioners for the past year and to take action thereon. Are there any water commissioners here who want to report? Is there anybody who would like to say anything about the water commissioners' report?
Well, he said he was sick.
Okay, if there is no objection, we'll move on. Article 5, to see if the voters shall fix the number of installments and the payment due dates for the collection of taxes as authorized in Title 32, Vermont Statutes Annotated, Section 4872. Recommended payments to be due on August 19th, September 19th, and November 19th. A second? Second. Thank you. Is there discussion? There being no discussion, all in favor, let me read this again. To see if the voters shall fix the number of installments and the payment due dates for the collection of taxes as authorized in Title 32, Vermont Statutes Annotated, Section 4872. Recommended payments to be due on August 19th, September 19th, and November 19th. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. The motion carries. Article 6, to see if the voters shall authorize collection of 2026 taxes through the treasurer as provided for in Title 32, Vermont Statutes Annotated, Sections 4792 and 4793. Is there a motion? I need a motion. Second? Thank you. Let me read this. Is there discussion? Sorry. Let me read this again. To see if the voters shall authorize collection of 2026 taxes through the treasurer as provided for in Title 32, Vermont Statutes Annotated, Sections 4792 and 4793. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. Article 7, to see if the voters shall appropriate the sum of $500 for the support of Northeast Kingdom Community Action, NECA, to offer food shelf services and Head Start early education services to residents. Is there a motion, please, to move it, to get this on the floor? Is there a second? Thank you. Is there discussion? Does anybody want to speak to this? There being no discussion, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes appear to have it. The ayes have it. Article 8, to see if the voters shall appropriate an additional sum of $15,000 to cover the cost of the annual Independence Day fireworks display. I have a motion to put this on the floor. There's a motion. There's a second. Is there discussion? Jamie.
So is this all Brighton every year, or is it just for this 1 year?
Just this 1 year.
This is kind of $5,000 out.
Right. This would be an additional 15,000. The cost of the fireworks here is $20,000, and we do not have the grant funding we received in the past. It was all pulled back for the Northeast. I do. We have for the last 9 years. We've been grant funded to pay for this, and this year fireworks jumped $5,000 in cost, and all of the grants for the Northeast Kingdom were pulled back from USDA. They were considered. What was that? This is not the ban. This is just the cost of fireworks. So if this passes tonight, we will be doing a big fundraising effort through the community to try and raise the money to actually pay for the bands and the stage and all the other stuff. That is an additional probably $12,000 cost that we will have to raise to do that. If this does not pass and we have to try to raise the fireworks money, the bands and everything are completely not going to happen. So, I mean, this 4th of July weekend, the cost for this program is typically about $50,000 a year. It's what we've gotten used to having. And for us to abruptly just kind of lose all funding in 1 year has really been devastating to this. And it's hurting all of the communities across the Northeast Kingdom. So if we want the bands and stuff, and I have put a hold on the stage and 2 bands, and they've both cut their fees for us so that we can do it for $12,000 as opposed to 25 or 30, which is what we normally end up spending. We do not have the money for bands. No, we will be doing, you know, the Legion has talked to us about that they will help with fundraising, and I've gotten word from a few of the businesses in town that they're interested in donating as well. So I think we can raise it. I mean, if I didn't think we could do it, I wouldn't even have talked to the bands or talked to the people with the stage. I think we can do that. I don't think we have the ability to raise $30,000 between now and July 4th. I mean, I just don't think it's feasible for us to do that or to even plan for that. I remember the days of Friday Night Live when we were doing the 50-50, trying to pay for the band every week. You know, we could barely squeak out $500 to pay the band in the early years. And then we started getting the businesses, but the businesses donated $250 for a year for all the concerts. You know, the cost structure back then was very different than what it is now. You know, we can't get a band for less than $1,000 a night. So it is what it is. And the kind of bands that we've gotten used to, you know, we are not going to be having Decadia if we have 4th of July. They were, you know, $13,000 was their fee last year. And so, you know, we're going to have a $1,000 band one night and a $4,000 band the other night. That's what the plan is. But that all kind of depends on how this funding goes and if we do our fundraising, if we do well.
Any other comments? Questions? Does everybody understand what we're voting on? What's that? He's right here. So let me read this again. To see if the voters shall appropriate an additional sum of $15,000 to cover the cost of the annual Independence Day fireworks display. The yes vote means you will vote for $15,000 added to the budget. The no vote says no. Any other comments? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you all.
Article 9, shall the town of Brighton discontinue the 2 additional select board positions created in 2024 with terms of 1 year each as provided in 17 VSA 2650? Is there a motion to get this on the floor? There's a motion. Is there a second? Jim, thank you. Is there discussion?
Nobody ran. We have nobody running for that. Or when you get your ballot tomorrow at the Australian ballot, it is almost completely blank.
There was also a petition brought forward with that request.
Right. It was a voter petition. It was not. The town didn't propose that.
Yes, Tanya. I'm sorry, Tanya has the floor.
select board. I believe that it's easier to find multiple committed candidates. By having just 3, it still promotes diversity of ideas, but we're all busy trying to find enough people to run to get the business done in the town. I think it benefits us by having 3. It holds the tradition. We've had 3 in the past. It also makes decision-making effective. It doesn't prolong decisions. I believe even though it's a small, albeit stipend, administrative cost in a year where every dollar counts, not having to pay those extra small stipends, training, administrative costs for those 2 additional members is important. So from my perspective, Brighton works because we all step up, we all keep government practical and efficient, and having a 3-member select board controls costs, keeps decision-making focused, and it lets us hold our traditions and our taxpayers accountable.
Thank you. Craig, did you have something more you wanted to add?
It could go either way. It was, I assumed it would be better on tonight's meeting so people could talk about it, as opposed to people coming into a, voting booth without any discussion about it. But it could have been either way. Yep. It was posted in 3 places around town and in the newspaper. And on Facebook and on the town website. Caledonia Record was the paper of record last year.
Could have got it at the library.
Yeah. Yeah, it was on Facebook and it was on the town website.
It was also voted on and approved at least 2 years ago to move to this method.
Actually, it's longer than
3 years
that.
ago or
3
2
years
years
ago, I think, we stopped mailing them. Because they all ended up in the recycle bin at the post office. We spent all the money printing and mailing, and then they just went in the recycle bin. So, hey, see, I thought you'd like that.
Any other discussion on the article? Davey?
I was just wondering why we don't advertise more positions, follow positions, but maybe just run an ad maybe twice. 1 week. Again, the following, they can list all the positions that are open. Because there's a lot of people in town that don't know what's open and what's not.
So is this on? So every year in your book, it shows which positions are going to be up for election next year. That goes on every year. So, and there, what is it? 15 days, 30 days. There's a certain number of days before every election that you have to have your petitions in by. That's all outlined in statute, but we have had to put them up before. So we can keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's all years.
I do think we put a post on Facebook this year, but I don't disagree with you, Jamie. I think we could do a better job of helping promote it. Sometimes, at least for us in the office, that is like our worst time of year is the 1st of January. We're trying to close out the budget from the year before. And so, remembering to go back and try and beg people to run for offices is tough. I mean, the deadline's upon us and we don't really think about it. So I will mark that on the calendar for next year that we do a better job of advertising it. I don't disagree with you on that.
I don't see where you want to do it every week.
We'll try. We always try. It's.
Any other discussion on this item?
Like the 3.
I enjoyed the 5, but I thought it was a little bit more diversity going on, a little more input from other people. With the petition going out, it kind of put it in perspective that only because they did not have anybody want to run, that would put the frosting on the cake. I always thought that 5 of us got along really good. I thought we had some good intentions. and good things, and I know for a fact if we did ever stick with 5, I know several people that could be appointed tomorrow.
Yes, but why didn't they put their name in? We want serious people,
Yeah,
not,
I understand
you know,
that.
they,
We want serious people.
well, I know,
Anyways, that's my 2 cents. I worked hard to get this 5 board member working, and there was a couple times this year where we had difficulty getting members together for particular signings of some important papers that need to be put through, but we actually had to call one another up to make sure we had enough people there in order to get things brought through.
yeah,
Right,
but
so-
with a 3-person board, you'd only need 2 people.
Well,
With
what if
5,
the
you need
two,
a-
what if the 2 aren't there? I mean,
I've been doing this for
I know you
8
have.
years and I've never been into that problem.
Anyways, it is what it is.
I think we're off. A little off.
Control the discussion a little bit. If anybody wants to make a comment, please. One at a time.
You looking at me?
I'm looking at over in that direction.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah,
Yes.
They want to get into it, they just.
I always suggest that, if you want to get involved, you don't have to be on the board to be heard. You can always come to any meeting that you want to go to. Your opinion, share your information, become informed. But we are really here to talk about the motion that's in front of us. Not-
That's the reason I'm bringing it up, because they're actually want to serve, maybe they don't.
I can honestly say, I've been attending select board meetings for a long time, and, especially this year in particular, once the board actually really, this board is, I'm going to give them a compliment. This has been one of the best boards we've had to work with. The 5 that we've got right now have been a dream to work with. But what I can tell you is nobody comes to the meeting. There is literally nobody at a select board meeting ever. And so when people say, well, you could appoint me to the select board, why do I want to appoint somebody that can't take the time to go and get 10 signatures? That's all it takes to get on the ballot. And so to me, that's at least a commitment on your part that you're going to be part of the discussion. You're going to have a vested interest in being part of the select board. Getting your name appointed to the board or, begging people to write in after the deadline, it's just not, to me, that's not who you want on your board. You want somebody who really, they have the time, they're committed to doing the job, and that's why they want to get on there. And so, whichever way this goes, it doesn't impact me either way. I'll work with either a 5-person board or a 3-person board. But as far as the town goes, we have a ton of open positions that we need to fill. And so if we appoint everybody to the select board, that leaves all of your other boards still empty. So we're going to be begging people to be listers and delinquent tax collectors and, whatever all the other ones were that we had, the cemetery commission. Luckily, we have 3 people that have stepped up and said they want to be appointed to that. But, some of these seats have been vacant for years. The auditor seat has been vacant since before I was an auditor. And that was 12 years ago that I was an auditor for the town. So I'm concerned, I do think it's worthwhile going back to 3. I think we never really had people running against people for the 3 seats. So this was my concern when we went with 5 people in the first place, was who was going to run? Because literally we don't have enough people interested in doing it. It's a commitment, and most people are busy and don't want to do it. So I'll shut up.
I'm just curious, we wouldn't be having this problem with having 3 positions now if we didn't establish initially that these new positions were just a single year. And so we've gone through a voting cycle already, and these are only 1-year terms. They would be in 3-year terms, and we'd have just 1 vacant position this year. If
They would only be 2-person terms. State law says only 2-person terms is the maximum for the, if you go to a 5-person board.
We have 3 positions on the select board that are 3-year terms and 2 that are 1-year terms. Why is that?
That's how it
That was-
was, that's how the motion was. When you originally voted, you voted to make them 1-year terms.
That's what the law says too, I believe. It says when you add two additional members, it can only be for 1-year terms.
Okay.
Any other questions?
What
Jamie.
about exploring changing the time? Because right now you guys meet at 5:30, right?
That time is set when the board meets, so after the election, the new board will set their time. It's not set in stone.
Well, it seems to me like we should look at it, because if somebody did want to run and work 9 to 5, in Lincolnville or out of the area, you had to make the meeting at 5:30. And that would go could go towards people attending the meeting too, that work longer hours. Maybe I just.
Yeah, the time is the first, that's the first order when the new board meets every year, is to set the time. It can be anytime they decide it is, as long as it's open to the public.
No, not so.
Right,
Well, I
but
think
each
we always
individual,
do
each
that.
individual board gets to set the time. It's not like this board is setting the time for the next board. Every year, that time can change. They could meet at 9 o'clock in the morning if they want. And so, but it's kind of up to each individual board when they have the reorganization meeting.
Any further discussion? Can I read this article again? Shall the town of Brighton discontinue the 2 additional select board positions created in 2024 with terms of 1 year each, as provided in 17 Mod Statutes annotated section 2650? Just so you understand, a yes vote means you want to discontinue the 5-member board and go to a 3-member board. Everybody understand that? Okay?
Say it again.
A yes vote means that you want to get rid of the 5-member board and go back to a 3-member board. You're voting to discontinue a 5-member board. A yes vote means to discontinue the 5-member board. Everybody okay?
Yes.
All in favor of the motion to discontinue, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Ayes appear to have it. The ayes have it. Article 10, shall the voters authorize total fund expenditures for operating expenses of $2,540,437.17, of which $1,954,271.18 shall be raised by taxes, and $586,165.99 raised by non-tax revenues. Is there a motion, please, to get this on the floor? Motion, thank you. Second, Jim. So the motion is on the floor. Is there discussion? This is the town budget. I'll read it again and then we can vote. Shall the voters authorize total fund expenditures for operating expenses of $2,540,437.17, of which $1,954,271.18 shall be raised by taxes, $586,165.99 raised by non-tax revenues. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry.
We did the discussion.
Did we take a vote?
Yes.
You
Yeah,
took a vote?
yes, we did.
All right. The ayes appear to have it.
We didn't ask.
No.
That's for the notes.
So let's do this again. All in favor of Article 10, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Article 10 appears to pass. Article 10 passes. Transact, Article 11, to transact any other non-binding business that may legally come before this meeting. Is there anybody who would like to raise any other issues? This will be non-binding, but you can raise an issue.
I would like to do a quick plug. So NEK Broadband, which Brighton was one of the original founding members of that CUD, will be opening service in Brighton this probably sometime later this year. I can't give you an exact date, not allowed. But so people who are on 5 Mile Square, 10 Mile Square, kind of the outside the village area that are looking for broadband, there's cards and stuff. I encourage you to pick one up back there and sign up so they know that you're interested, because it's coming very quickly here. The cabinet for that is behind our fire station here, and it's being tested as we speak. So it is coming online, and it's something that a lot of people outside of the village have been waiting for a very long time. And what was that? They are. If you go online and sign up, it doesn't. Do you know, Tanya? We have an employee from NEK Broadband here.
Do it again.
Yeah, just, please do sign up. We are excited. This is, I know, a long time coming for so many residents. In conjunction with our grant and with our mission is to serve the unserved and underserved first. So that's why Mike is talking about these outlying areas. They will get service first. If you have an option, we'll come back and serve you. So we on Mountain Street aren't getting served right away. If you have an option, but we'll eventually come back and serve everyone here. But this is super exciting. Waiting decades will be served. Probably installations will start around June, July at the latest. So we're really excited.
Well, is there a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No.